Hi, everybody. Hey, so that was, as you guys know, we are so excited about joining forces with Salesforce. Marc Benioff and I met a few months ago to talk about this, and he has just an incredible vision for what these two companies can do together, and we thought it would be great for him to come today and to talk to us about how Salesforce is thinking about this, and just share his thoughts on how he's been building Salesforce and how we're going to do this together. So please welcome Marc Benioff, CEO of Salesforce.
All right, good morning, everybody.
So.
Good morning, come on.
So thank you so much for being here, Marc.
Anytime I can come down to San Jose, I'm thrilled to be here.
All right. So as you, we talked in the morning about how companies are able to maintain innovation at scale, and I talked about Salesforce winning 6 times Forbes #1 most innovative company. Can you talk about how you're able to keep the company innovative at such large scale?
Well, I think that when you are talking about innovation, which is by far one of the most important things in our industry, but not the most important thing, and you want to innovate at scale, which is something Salesforce has done. As you said, Forbes magazine has said, we've been the most innovative company in the world 6 out of the last 10 years, and also Fortune magazine this year were #1 on their Future 50 list. If you want to do innovation at scale, you have to get really clear about your values. What do you really want in your company? What is really important to you? And at Salesforce, this is probably the #1 thing that I think about every single day, which is, what are we doing? Here we're in our company, we're spending all this time in our life, working. I want to know, what am I doing? What's important to me? And that's also our culture, because our culture is our values. Probably one of the reasons why Fortune just said that Salesforce is the #1 best place to work in the world. That comes out of our values also. So what is our values? What's important to us? #1 is trust. For us at Salesforce, well, now for you at Salesforce, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
The #1 thing at Salesforce, the most important thing is trust. Nothing is more important than the trust we have with our key stakeholders, our customers, our partners, our employees, our shareholders, the communities that we serve, our public schools that are in our communities, our key stakeholders. In San Francisco, we have a homeless population. That's a key stakeholder for us. So #1 is trust. Nothing is more important than trust. That is the #1 thing and let me tell you why that's important, by the way, because you have seen in our industry that when CEOs don't prioritize trust as their highest value, things can go very, very wrong. One of my really close friends is Travis Kalanick, who's the former CEO of Uber. And it was only about a year ago when an incredible woman, Susan Fowler, wrote quite a long story about how the culture at Uber was quite toxic. And then other things started to emerge about Uber. And there was this feeling that there wasn't the right level of trust between Travis and the stakeholders, and the board ended up firing Travis. Tough time for Travis, for Uber, and for the industry. And when I was talking to Travis, we just were together actually at a party after the Academy Awards. I said to him, how do you look at that? And he's like, well, I look at my #1 value at Uber when I was running Uber is that the best idea wins. And that's something he had told me dozens of times. That was his highest value. But something shifted with Uber. When it became successful and it became a meaningful part of all of our lives, it wasn't just about the best idea wins anymore.
Yeah.
It's about trust. And that shift did not happen until Dara, the new CEO, came in. Now we see that going on with Facebook, same thing. What is their highest value? Is it connecting the world or is it trust? And the reason why they're losing trust with so many of their key stakeholders and why they're called to congressional investigations is because it's not clear to the world, is trust their highest value or is it product? And I think this continues on and on. And so number one, if you want to innovate at scale, number one issue is got to focus on your values. And for us, our number one value is trust. And then we start to talk about, now let's talk about the rest of our values as well. Growth is very important to us, customer success. This is critical to us. Innovation is important. It's one of the reasons that we acquired your company and invested in your company for so many years, because we value innovation, not just in our company organically, but also inorganically. And our fourth key value is equality. Equality is very important to Salesforce and to our employers and our key stakeholders. That is, the equality of every human being is important to us. And we look and we say, what are we doing for the equality of others as part of our company? So I'll just give you, we talked about this backstage, which is that gender equality is very important to us. We're working to increase the number of women in our industry, in our company. We want to make sure that men and women are paid the same for the same work, that we have equal pay. This is very important to us. At Salesforce, if you want to talk about gender equality, you have to talk about four things. You talk about equal advancement, you talk about equal opportunity, you talk about equal pay, and you also talk about preventing sexual harassment. These are the four legs of gender equality, okay? And so even at this conference, like we were talking about backstage, which is that we only have 13% of our speakers are women, that's not acceptable to me. We need to see gender balance when we come to tech conferences. And we need to see gender balance in our community and in our customer base and in our employee base. This is critical right now for us. We cannot create one society who are full of technology and then another society where we push people away. So when we look at gender equality or bringing in underrepresented minorities, equality is a critical part of what we do at Salesforce. Diversity and inclusion is critical. LGBTQ equality is critical. It's one of the reasons why we fought so hard in Indiana when the governor said, I'm going to sign a law that's going to discriminate against the LGBTQ community. Salesforce had to go and say, wait a minute, if you do that, we're the number one tech company in Indiana, we will exit the state. Because we believe in LGBTQ equality. For me, it's easy. I'm from San Francisco. That's a quick and easy decision, I come from the place where we are born the summer of love, Gay rights was born in San Francisco. Yes, we're going to fight for that. That's important to us. And it's the homeless, Salesforce was born in San Francisco. So when we look at Salesforce's core values, trust, customer success, innovation, equality, through that motion is born our movement towards innovation at scale. Because then we can say, what are we doing with our company? Who do we want to be? How do we want to show up? What are we creating? What is our legacy going to be in this industry? How are people going to look back and say, did they do something for others? And for us, when we started our company, we put 1% of our equity, 1% of our profit, and 1% of all of our employees' time, 4 hours a month, 6 days a year, into a 501c3 charity. That was day one. Of course, at the time, we had no equity profit time, so it was easy.
That was innovation. That was innovation too, right?
You
innovated
the 1-1-1
model.
And you know what? I would never have thought. Now we have more than 5,000 companies who have all pledged 1% and said they're doing the 1-1-1 model. And we've been able to give away hundreds of millions of dollars. We have run more than 30,000 nonprofits and NGOs on our services for free. And we also have done millions of hours of volunteerism, okay? And that's now part of MuleSoft's culture, too.
Awesome.
You get that. By joining Salesforce, your employees all get 4 hours a month for paid time off.
That's cool.
6 days a year. We want your employees and your team to experience the same joy and giving that we get every day at Salesforce, which is the joy of giving back, which is our culture, which we love and thrive off of.
Excellent. Thank you. For this audience, this room, One of the things, shifting over a little bit into the actual two companies, can you talk a little bit about your vision, how you thought about digital transformation, talking to CEOs, and just how this came to be, how your thought process worked over the last 6, 12 months?
Well, we have always loved MuleSoft, and first of all, I love the giant M, obviously. So, and I think that for us, we've, invested all the way from the beginning of the company to the acquisition. We always viewed MuleSoft as a critical part of our strategy. And then, I spend a huge amount of time with my customers. I just think that's a critical part of success. And just in the last month, I've probably been with 200 customers. Next week, I'll be, on the road. I'll be with more than 100 customers next week. And I view that just listening to customers, understanding their needs, because there's a lot of change going on in the world right now. There's a lot of change. And it's affecting our customers, it's affecting society, it's affecting the technology industry. There's just a lot of change. And when I listen to customers, right now, for them, they are digitally transforming their business. There's just no question about it. Yeah. And when I'm talking to the CEOs of the largest companies in the world, which is my primary point of conversation, that's the number one thing on their mind. How am I going to transform my business? And the key to digital transformation, obviously from Salesforce perspective, is every digital transformation is going to begin and end with the customer. Every digital transformation is going to begin and end with the customer. And you can see that in the minds of every CEO. And when you talk to those CEOs, then they lay out all of their assets that they need to bring to bear to build a single view of the customer. To get this transformation to happen, it's heterogeneous. It's maybe they've done acquisitions like we have, so they have multiple data centers, multiple architectures. They're using public cloud, not one, many multiple public clouds. They have private clouds too. How do you bring all of that information together and deliver a single view of the customer if you have a massively heterogeneous environment that's getting more heterogeneous, not less? Yep. And the way that you're going to do that is with Anypoint. And that's the power of MuleSoft's strategy. And I think coupling that with our customer success platform is very, very powerful. Because that's when we can really show up for a customer, like we have so many times already, and say, we're going to bring all this information together for you, and then be able to help you deliver your digital transformation. That's very powerful.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about neutrality? So people ask a lot of questions around us, around, are we going to start, is the MuleSoft platform going to start being potentially biased towards Salesforce? Can you talk about how you think about us making sure that we are connecting to everything?
Well, I think that that's why, it's absolutely critical to your strategy, but it's always been critical to Salesforce's strategy as well. You first of all just look at Salesforce. What other company has relationships with Amazon, with Google, with IBM, with every major company in the industry, because our customers demand it, because they're working with those companies. Yeah. Our customers demand that we work with every company, because how else are we going to be able to connect in and tap into everything that's going on in their architectures? So, of course, that is critical to both of our future strategies. It's always been true at Salesforce, yep. And it's always been true at MuleSoft together, and it will continue to be true because, and that's one of the reasons I love the platform name Anypoint. And if you're going to build an integration cloud, which is our dream, and we're going to help to motivate these digital transformations, then we have to do that with the base of connecting to everything, no bias.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing that people ask about, and I think this happens anytime there's an acquisition of any company, is what about the innovation? What about the roadmap? And I will say that during this process, as we've been talking about the integration of the two companies, it's been unbelievable, the push and the drive to actually help MuleSoft go even faster than it has been. But I think it'd be great for the audience here to hear a little bit about how you're thinking about the innovation, the drive of MuleSoft over time, and how you guys consider that to be something you're investing in.
When I'm working with customers today, and when I look out and see what's happening, we have this tremendous level of transformation that's happening in our industry. And cross-sector, there is massive transformation happening. It doesn't matter what industry that we look into or open the hood in one industry, there's unbelievable transformation. So if I look at what's going on in a major industry, like for example, retail, okay? When I spent time in the retail industry, and I spent a lot of time last week in Minneapolis and Chicago, so it's huge retail hubs, and I'm looking at what major retailers are doing, they're looking at, okay, we're competing against pure digital players. We're building not just a on-premise delivery of our products, but a hybrid delivery of our products that are both digital and on-premise. We want to have a frictionless, seamless experience between digital and on-premise. We want to also bring ambient computing into our architecture as well. So that means that it's also, the home is deeply integrated, so I can say in my house, I want this product, or I want information on this, or I need to have access to that. What are these guys doing? They are really building this kind of single view of their customer. And whether they're in their store, whether they're online, whether they're in their home, they want to have a one-on-one personalized relationship with you. That's where it's really getting to, one-on-one. Are we going deeper? Are we able to show up as whether it's a B2B company or a B2C company or a B2B2C company, and deliver a one-on-one relationship? This is not a simple transformation for many companies. No. This is really taking everything they have to look at how do we do something like this on-premise. And they see companies starting from scratch and go, wow, how do I do that? One beautiful example is Amazon, which is a huge Salesforce customer, okay? One of our very largest customers in the world. And when I look at Amazon, what they've done, in many cases, this is the aspiration of many of these other retailers, you know? Yeah. Incredible vision in terms, not just the acquisition of Whole Foods, not just the creation of all these amazing new stores, not just this incredible 10% retail platform that's now 10% of the US retail industry. That's like the aspiration of many other retailers. Yeah. So then you can look at that and say, okay, well, how do you do that? How do you become like that level of personalization? So when I walk into your store, you remember me, you know me. You know, one of the companies that I love is a luxury brand company called Louis Vuitton. And Louis Vuitton loves me back so much, they made me this blazer, actually. Nice. So I really love them.
It's nice.
It is nice. And
the shoes are better than the blazer, though.
Another customer, Christian Louboutin. But they even put little clouds in my blazer for me, just to remind me that they love me so much. But anyway, this customer of mine, Louis Vuitton, LVMH, they have a great group of brands. You know, they have Louis Vuitton and Berluti and Laura Piana and all these luxury brands. And when you show up on their websites, they want to have a great relationship with you. But if you walk into a Louis Vuitton store, you may know something that happens that's quite magical, where that sales rep can come up to you, and as soon as they identify you, either through technology, that is opening up your app and letting them know you're in the store, or then giving them your name, hey, it's Greg, I've been here before. They'll say, oh yeah, you were just in our Paris store. You must travel quite a bit. And you just bought this gorgeous bag from us. You know what? That's now available in another color. And Salesforce Einstein, which is our artificial intelligence at Salesforce that is built into every aspect of Salesforce's product, now does 2 billion predictions for our customers every single day, then prompts that sales rep and says, and have you thought about this bag in this new color? And there's a seamless integration between that experience in that store with that customer, Louis Vuitton, with that great new product that they have, and the digital experience you had on the site, and the other store that you were in the other day, which might have been in another location. That idea that they're building a single view of the customer, this is very important at Louis Vuitton. You know, this is not a company that's necessarily competing against Amazon. This is one of the top luxury vendors in the world.
And integration matters.
Integration matters, and they want to be able to do that cross-brand, so that they can have a tremendous experience, so that their direct salespeople have that experience, and by the way, indirect, because of course they also sell product through distributors and dealers as well. They want to be able to do it in customer service, so when you call the call center and contact center, they want to be able to do that in the marketing relationship. So when you get an email from them, or get an offer, whether it was in the store or an email, that it's a one-on-one offer that's exactly for you. Or if you join a community and you want to become a part of a community online, again, that has to be part of the single view of the customer. Yeah. Or if you're using some custom app that they've built, like they have a great new connected bag, you know, for travelers, and that bag is also connected, and it connects to an app that's on the phone called LV Pass, which is built in something we have called Heroku, which is an app dev environment on AWS. That idea that the app on the phone is connected to the bag, is connected to the single view on the customer, it's all one single view of the customer for them, helps them serve you better, okay? Even to the point where they now use our Commerce Cloud, which is what drives Adidas, it drives Puma, it drives Ralph Lauren, you know, it drives Lacoste. And that Commerce Cloud, that's where you're actually buying product online as well. How do you connect all of those things together, deliver a single view of the customer? And I have one answer for you. We're going to do a lot of that at Salesforce in our core, and where we're not doing that in our core, it's Anypoint. This is why Anypoint is so important, because for Louis Vuitton to be able to go out and talk to all the different data sources that they need is critical. And for industries where they have extreme examples of integration required to deliver a single view of the customer, like healthcare, where they have to tap into insurance, or they have to tap into all kinds of other medical record systems. That is Anypoint as well.
Totally.
And we can go industry by industry by industry. And if we're going to deliver our vision for the future, you have to have the best integration platform in the world, the best integration cloud in the world. And that's why this has always been a great match. And that's why this is even a stronger match now, not just because of the giant M behind me, which I love, but it's because our two platforms together are stronger together. They're better together. Yeah. And that is why Salesforce acquired MuleSoft. That is why. And I hope that customers agree that this is a compelling vision for the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you very much
for having me.
Really, really great chatting.
Great to see you.
That was awesome. Thank you, everybody.